Kuzangpo, a very warm welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program. My name is Pupkam. Our top stories this week. High temperature, the probable cause of two lakes breaching in Lunana. Government to hire medical specialists from India to address the professionals shortage. And fire disaster in Thimphu renders 10 families homeless and around 30 people jobless. The highest temperature in the last 9 years was recorded last month. According to the National Center for Hydrology and Meteorology, Lunana in the north recorded its temperature around 15 degrees Celsius last month, an increase by 2 degrees Celsius compared to past years. This, the center says, might be the major reason for the incident in Lunana last month, where two subsidiary lakes of Thothomey breached.
Following the threat from Thothomey last month, the center conducted a rapid assessment on the lake. There are two subsidiary lakes below Thothomey. Before the incident in June, there was one outlet from where the water from main lake flowed to subsidiary Lake 1. During the incident, there was a small new bridge on the right side of the original outlet of the main lake. That excess water got spilled over into subsidiary Lake 1, which is located right below Thothomey. And from that subsidiary Lake 1, it got spilled over to subsidiary Lake 2. The moraine dam of subsidiary Lake 2 is just 40 meters thick. Experts said it is too thin to hold the water pressure and it gave away.
If you estimate the volume that went out on the 28th of June is just about 18,000 cumax jirame. That is why we didn't feel any impact on the downstream region. The breaching of that small lake along with the new breach that occurred on main Thothomey Lake, that incident is actually, we don't consider that as a glove because by terminology, glove should be a sudden release of huge volume of water, and that didn't happen.
He explained that the flood volume from 1994 Glove from Lugitho was 18 million cubic meters of water. The center plans to enhance the Glove early warning system that can forecast floods. For now, the center have Glove early warning system that detects flood only after it has happened. Today, Lunana has 4 major lakes, Thothomey, Rapsjang, Lugi and Betso, and all 4 are potentially dangerous glacial lakes. Samton Dolker, BBS News.
Bhutan will not face a telecommunication blackout in case a major disaster damages the core mobile network systems in Thimphu. This is because Bhutan Telecom now has a backup facility called the Disaster Resilient Emergency Mobile Network constructed in Punta.
The Information and Communications Minister, Karmadunin Wangdi, and the First Secretary of the Japanese Embassy in New Delhi, Fumitaka Fujiwara, launched the Disaster Resilience Emergency Mobile Network. The Japan International Cooperation Agency provided over 600 million yuan grant aid to Bhutan Telecom for project.
Now that we are prepared, even if there is a major failure with one of our cores, we will not suffer total disruption of telecom services and thereby enable the government to facilitate emergency rescue and restoration operations. This project, therefore, will not only benefit Bhutan Telecom as a direct recipient of the JICA grant, but also our entire nation as a whole.
At the inaugural ceremony yesterday, the Japanese side reaffirmed JICA's comprehensive support to Bhutan in the future.
I hope that this project will contribute to us further encouraging the cooperation between Japan and Bhutan. As Bhutan now prepared to graduate from the category of least developed countries. Japan is ready to continue to provide comprehensive support to meet needs as ever.
Under the construction of Disaster Resilient Emergency Mobile Network project, an identical setup of the core system that currently provides Bhutan Telecom's mobile network throughout the country is constructed at Dekiling in Bhutan. These are exactly the same equipment in Thimphu that provide Bhutan Telecom's mobile network throughout the country.
What we have at Jakar is exact replica of Thimphu. So in case anything happens to the mobile core of Thimphu, then this Jakar core will take over the services. Likewise, if anything happens to Jakar core, Thimphu core will take over. So we are very confident with this in place today. The core per se, we are ready to provide the services seamlessly in terms of disaster.
JICA has also helped Bhutan develop its domestic telecommunications network with its grant aid from 1991 to 1998. This laid the foundations of Bhutan Telecom in the early 1990s. For Kipchu in Bhutan, this is Sonam Choden for BBS News.
Towards better managing the country's increasing dog population, the National Dog Population Management and Rabies Control Program 2009 has been revised. The 2019 strategy has incorporated some social concerns and will focus on improving the health and welfare of owned and stray dog population, reducing the number of free-roaming dogs, and promoting responsible dog ownership, among others.
The National Dog Population Management Strategy 2019 will be implemented from this month. It will look at eradicating rabies, reducing the risk of transmission of zoonotic diseases and dog bites, littering of environment and social nuisance, among others. Despite several dog population control measures put in place since the 1980s, today the rising dog population issue remains far from being effectively addressed. This is attributed to factors such as high human tolerance and feeding of stray dogs, access to resources such as food, water and shelter, and high fertility of the unspayed owned female dogs.
It is a big nuisance for a community. And we have a lot of complaints, you can't sleep at night. We have school children going to school, their dogs are being beaten. Of course, if you look from an economic perspective, tourists always complain, So if we have to solve this, it has to be, as I say, a holistic approach from a systems perspective. Then we can address that challenge.
The strategy has three main components of policy and legislation, sterilization and public awareness program. The policy and legislation aspect includes registration and identification of owned dogs, registration of breeding facilities and pet shops, prevention of abandonment and unsupervised free-roaming dogs, among others. Besides revising the national program, a National Dog Population Management and Rabies Control Committee has also been established within the Livestock Department. It is to guide the implementation and make policy decisions regarding the new strategy. The livestock officials in all 20 districts have already been trained for its implementation. The National Dog Population Management Strategy 2019 is also one of the flagship programs included in the Waste Management Flagship Program. This is Sonam Choden for BBS News.
The magnetic resonance imaging or MRI service at the National Referral Hospital will be further delayed by a month. The service was expected to resume last month. The hospital has not been able to provide the service for the last 8 months.
The MRI service has been suspended since October last year as the only MRI machine was in the process of upgradation. In an earlier interview, the hospital said the machine has been used for about 12 years and it is too old. The service was expected to resume by first week of June this year, but again there was some problem.
It's functional. We have completed the installation. It's ready for use, but then we have a small technical error. We have to, as per the protocol, we have to carry out the calibration after installation. While doing the calibration, we realized that the machine, there's some technical error inside the machine, so which our Indian manufacturer from India could not resolve. So we are waiting for the higher expertise from US.
The problem occurred a few weeks after the installation of some parts.
The installation was done by the manufacturer in India, GE Wipro, in first week of June. And after that, after a week or so, another expertise had come from India as well, who tried to rectify the problem. But then they were not able to, because they required higher expertise from the principal, the headquarters itself. So we are expecting expertise from headquarters anytime from now.
MRI scan is a safe, painless test that uses radio waves and energy from strong magnets to create detailed images of a body. Until then, people are referred to a hospital in Siliguri. Shoni Dama for BBS News.
Now, medical specialist requirement in the country is expected to be met by hiring specialists from India. Foreign Minister shared this at the recent Meet the Press session. He said quite a number of Indian specialists expressed interest to work in Bhutan. Alongside this, the government is also following up with Bangladesh to get in specialists. The foreign minister said this while being questioned on the government's progress on hiring specialists from Bangladesh. He said the Bangladeshi specialist didn't want to practice in Bhutan at the cabinet-approved pay package of $3,500.
Regarding the specialists from Bangladesh, the requests and exchanges have already been taking place between the two countries. We are keeping on following up with the government of Bangladesh, and the government of Bangladesh in its turn is trying to find ways to send their doctors from here. What we have understood is that the financial package that we have offered is not very attractive for the Bangladeshi specialists. So nevertheless, they are still trying from their side.
He said the media report of the Prime Minister Dr. Lutisring practicing on Saturdays has sparked interest among Indian medical fraternity to come and work in Bhutan.
So the Prime Minister has asked the Health Minister to see if we can talk to the medical fraternity. There are many medical associations in India, Indian Medical Association, State Medical Associations, whatever. So through this, I think we are quite confident that we can now attract more from India to come. And if India level much India, I think we'll have the adequate numbers, shouldn't we? Now the focus is, of course, Bangladesh, because the Prime Minister has requested, they are trying to send. Attractive minusem Bangladesh ki tha shuach. Te taru India lo dinam some attention do. So ta India da Bangladesh ni benga chahi. We are going to focus on these two, shouldn't we?
To address the shortage of health specialists in the country, Health Ministry signed a memorandum of understanding with the Bangladeshi Health and Family Welfare in April this year, when the Prime Minister made his first visit to Dhaka. The Bangladeshi government was to send in 20 specialists and 4 subspecialists to Bhutan. Pup Game for BBS News. Bhutan Broadcasting Service launched Project Generation Ward to recommend and provide insights to relevant agencies and stakeholders regarding issues and challenges faced by the youths. The project, containing 161 questionnaires, will help youths aged between 18 to 34 respond on 21 themes.
Generation What is an international version of a successful French format developed by independent production companies Yami 2 and UPN for France television. This transmedia format combines an online questionnaire about life, love and work aimed at young people aged between 18 and 34. It features an interactive website, web videos, TV documentaries and radio and newspaper content. The responses will be analyzed by sociologists in an attempt to increase understanding of the opinions, behavior, aspirations and values of young people in more than 30 European countries, more than 12 countries in the Asia-Pacific region and the Middle East.
Very few of the politicians are corrupt. I agree with that.
Have you ever belonged to a political organization? Not at all. I haven't belonged to a political organization, but I like it very much, politics.
Over 29,000 answers have been collected. The final result will be declared by January next year. According to the Chief Executive Officer of BBS, Sring Wangchuk, most of us undermine the opinions and views of the youth considering their age and experience.
Once we have done this survey, we'll have a lot of answers to the youth issues that we are facing. Normally, what we tend to do is we tend to think that we have the solutions. I'm expecting that the results from this project that we are doing, Bhutan Generation What, will be quite different from what we actually think. It will give us a way forward for future policies.
The Generation What Bhutan team also went around 15 districts to develop high-quality public service content, help members from various walks of life to engage with a younger audience and acquire a deeper understanding of how young people think and behave.
Problems and issues faced by the youth, their situation, what they require, and to see how we can study and find out proper resolutions are all included in the project, and it will benefit youth immensely. At the end of this year, through our findings and results, we will be able to inform the relevant agencies, ministries and policymakers on youth issues.
Generation What in Bhutan is coordinated by the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, produced by Yami2 and UPN, and co-produced by BBS. This is Sringdandu for BBS News.
With increasing population and rise in developmental activities in Dampu town, housing crunch has become more and more severe. Locals say this problem is further aggravated by the rule to limit the number of stories of a building to 3 or less in the town. However, this rule could change as it is currently being reviewed following the appeals from the residents.
The core of Dampu town is full of 3-storied buildings. This is because of the norms under the Development Control Regulation that was drawn in 2005. The regulation allows only 3-storied constructions or less in the core town area and 2-storied structures or less in the outskirts. But following increased pressure from the plot owners, the rule has been submitted for review to the Works and Human Settlement Ministry by the Municipal Office.
We have already forwarded the TCR review request to the department. They are in the process of getting review, but when to review and when to get approval is still unknown. So it's almost 1 year past we have forwarded the petition to the department. We are still waiting for them, and till then we are not allowing any private individuals to construct number of stories as approved from the TCR.
The initial plan was to develop Dampu town into a residential town, but with rapid development and rise in the population, locals say Dampu has potential to become a commercial town.
Currently in our town, we don't have infrastructures to start up standard hotels. One reason is because we only have approvals to construct 3-storied houses. There are people who want to start construction of 4-storied structures, but we are not allowed to do so. In Chirang, it is possible to increase the number of stories in the buildings. The soil-bearing capacity is also feasible and strong. Like towns in Gelifu, Samrup Jonkar and Thimphu, Dampu is also developing rapidly.
Dampu town has been developed on more than 6 acres of land. The issue was first raised during the Dzongkhag Chokdu last year. This is Namgye Wangchuk for BBS News, Chirang.
It will take another 2 years before the request of the people of Takve village in Shemgang is looked at for consideration. Since 2013, the villagers have been requesting to transfer the administration of the village from Nangkur Gyeok to its neighboring Gyeok Trong.
The villagers reasoned that Tong Gyeok office is closer to their village, so it would only be convenient for the 17 households of Takpil if they fall within Tong Gyeok's delimitation. Today, for any official meetings or works, the locals have to travel about 36 kilometers to reach the Nangkor Gyok office at Buli. This involves more time and costs.
We proposed for the transfer about years ago. We have officially returned to the Dzongkhag administration. We do not know what the progress is. It is difficult to travel to Buli since transportation is not readily available.
It takes only about an hour and a half to reach the Trong Gyok center, whereas to reach Buli, it takes more. It is about 50 kilometers away. It would be convenient for us if our request is approved.
Our request has fallen on deaf ears. The Gyok center is far from our village and we face a lot of problems to get there for our works. We have to hire a vehicle every time. But if we fall under Trong Gyok, we can conveniently travel to the Gyok center in the morning and return the same evening.
The request was also formally submitted to the Dzongkhag administration through the Gyok Tsokde in 2015. Officials said, as per the letter received from the Election Commission recently, the request cannot be considered. As per the rules, delimitation is reviewed after every 10 years. The last LG delimitation was drawn in 2011, so its review is due only in 2021. Dakpil is about 19 kilometers away from Shemgang town. For Pema Samdrup in Shemgang, Samton Dolker, BBS News.
A fire gutted 4 furniture manufacturing units and 10 residential homes at Changzamto in Thimphu on Wednesday. The incident, believed to have taken place at around 1 a.m., left 10 families homeless and around 30 people jobless. The office of the Gevizumpe visited the site and met with the aggrieved families and delivered His Majesty's Royal Semso.
The fire is believed to have broken out from one of the manufacturing units before spreading to the other structures. Police were reported at around 2:30 a.m. They said by the time firefighters reached the location, most of the structures were already burnt down. Officials are investigating what caused the fire and how it all started.
I don't know how this accident happened. When we woke up at 1:30, one of the furniture houses was already on fire. It had all burned down and the fire was coming towards us. So we woke the others, and when we reached outside, our house had already caught fire.
This will not only affect me but my 11 employees as well. Some of them were asking me about the factory. They were worried about their jobs as the factory would be closed. I told them not to worry, we have a government and they will definitely help us. They might not be able to work elsewhere since most of them are uneducated and they have their family to look after.
I have a loan of 4.2 million Newton from the Bank of Bhutan I took to purchase machinery for my factory. I still have 2.1 million Newton left to pay. I don't know how the incident happened. I was shocked. Since I purchased all the machinery with loan, I don't know what to do now.
Although there were no casualties, all belongings and property were lost to the fire. Police are investigating the cause of the incident. Pema Saldun Singh, BBS News.
That's all we have for you this week. Thank you very much for watching.